Well, hi there, everybody. I am back on the treadmill. Okay, so today, this should sound like a success, and right now it is a success, which is I'm back on the treadmill at 6:45 a.m. So good, happy. Not the 12 o'clock yesterday I was, or whatever time it was. So that's great. However, I've been awake since 4:25 a.m. Just laying there in bed, hoping to go back to sleep. For 2 hours, I just laid there hoping to go back to sleep because I woke up at my normal 6-hour chunk and thought, well, I'm not ready to get up now, but, I hope I can go back to sleep. But after you lay there, and yes, I did start listening to podcasts or anything, and a lot of times that will help me go back to sleep because I listen to entertaining ones, not thought-provoking ones. And I make sure I don't choose ones that have people that have those loud bursting laughter or whatever. But nope, didn't work this time. So how will this manifest in my day? No idea. But for right this moment, I'm fine to do this workout. Happy I'm getting it done first thing. Have my iced coffee right next to me, and all is well. So, I when I wake up in the morning, I often, whether it's at my 6 o'clock, not 6 o'clock, my 6-hour chunk, or after my next 2-hour chunk, I usually have an immediate thought that comes to mind. And this morning it was meditation, that I need to meditate, if only for 5 minutes, just to get some inner peace and some clarity, and just like wipe the slate clean so that I can see the big picture of life, because so much now is focused on just the minutia of what is right in front of me before I need to deal with the next thing right in front of me. So I do believe it's important for me to do that. And it would only take 5 minutes. So maybe I'll work that into my changes. Like I've talked about, I'm not willing to add anything that I can't commit to 100% because it becomes very demotivating. So I'm not sure yet if I'm adding that in now. I definitely need to add it in. Maybe I'll try it today and see. I'll have to tell you my change about the cell phone and not using my cell phone in the morning. That one didn't stick. I might get back to that. I will admit that might be what sabotaged me this morning in not being able to go back to sleep. I lost my train of thought there. I did pick up my cell phone because I needed to pick a podcast, and I don't know. I do have the night light thing on my cell phone to try to make the light less and blue, take away the blue. I can't remember if you take away blue or add blue. Whatever the case, I might have sabotaged myself, or maybe it just wasn't going to happen either way. But I know a lot of people hate this saying, but here it goes. It is what it is. You sort of have to accept things and move on. So the meditation thing, maybe I'll try it today to see, because I do believe it will help. So 1, maybe I'll try that today. 2, water. I just need to drink more water. That one I really am going to try today. I have really big things of Deer Park water, like, I don't know what it is, if it's maybe a gallon of Deer Park water or something like that. And I don't love plain water unless it's cold, and I don't have room in my refrigerator for putting something like that. So I think I'm just going to pull out my water bottle that I usually would take to the gym, fill it up with ice, and just start pouring and drink. I think I'm going to commit to like 24 ounces a day of water. And what that will do for me, not only in giving me water, but it also helps me cut back on Diet Coke, because inherently I'll drink a certain amount throughout the day, total of liquid. And if I put in 24 ounces of water that hasn't been there the day before, then that's probably going to boot out 24 ounces of Coke, Diet Coke, that I would have drunk. So you sort of crowd out the bad thing versus I am going to label it a bad thing because I avoid reading a lot of the articles about Diet Coke, but many of them are bad. And even if it's not bad, it's not good. It's adding nothing. It's got a nutritional value of 0 and then a potential bad. So I can label it bad, give a value judgment to that. So anyway, sometimes instead of saying, I'm going to cut back Diet Coke, you can just add in something positive in its place and crowd it out, right? So 24 ounces of water is a new commitment I am making today. I'll try the meditation thing. Again, it's not hard for me. My daughter, suggested it to her because she has a lot of anxiety and depression, and I suggested it to her, but she said that she had talked with her therapist about that, and they decided that maybe meditation wouldn't be good for her because she's also ADD. She's not medicated for that yet, but we are going to look into that before the next school year. So maybe that wouldn't, they decided that maybe it wouldn't work for her because she's also very imaginative. So she just starts spinning, her thoughts. And while I understand the whole point is to, just let those thoughts be there and let them float away like clouds and, just allow things to happen, in your mind, but not run away with them. She doesn't think that's within the realm of possibility for her at this point. But for me, I've done it before, so I know it's not that hard for me unless I'm in a sheer state of panic about a situation in my life. It's not that difficult for me. So meditation I'm going to try today, but I'm not committing to that yet. And I think today will show me whether that's something I'm willing to add to the list of things I'm committed to. But I am going to commit to the 24 ounces of water. It just, dehydration makes you feel terrible. It's amazing, actually, but it's two things. It's amazing to me how terrible dehydration makes you feel. And secondly, it's amazing to me that I have to work so hard to make myself drink water. It's not like it's distasteful. It's just, it's not exciting. And so it's just so easy to get away from. And I've made this change and this pledge to drink more water as much probably as I've made the pledge to drink less Diet Coke or lose 5 pounds in the past, whatever it was, I've just continued to repeat the same pledge and do it for a while and then drop off and then leave it alone and not do it for months on end and then come back and scoop it back up and say, I really should be drinking water. And as I mentioned a different day, I really don't count the water that I drink at the gym because I sweat all that back out, so I'm not sure how much hydration is happening. Certainly cleansing can be happening if I sweat out toxins and clear out my system with the water. So I'm not saying it's detrimental, it's very good and helpful. And nothing else hydrates me at the gym like water, but I just don't count that in terms of making a commitment to drink more water in my life. So here we go again. This is like if you were doing a take, like a movie take where you have one of those little clappers and you clapped it down in terms of making a commitment to drink more water. This would probably be like take 6042, but that's okay. I'm making it, and you might note that I'm only making it for 24 ounces because that's all I'm willing to commit to. Is typically I drink Diet Coke out of cans, so that's 12 ounces each. So 24 ounces is the equivalent of 2 cans of Diet Coke. So I'm going to drink the equivalent of 2 cans of Diet Coke, but in water. And I do have flavored waters, like sparkling waters with fruity flavors that are yummy and have no calories and no added sugars or fake sugars, or sugar substitutes. So I can do that too. I'm going to start off with just plain old water and just put a bunch of ice in it. So that's my commitment. And this article came out a long time ago. I can't remember who it was. If it was Harvard, it was somebody like Harvard that came out with an article saying, oh no, you don't need 8 8-ounce glasses of water a day, the equivalent of 64 ounces. You don't need to drink that many glasses of water a day. You need that much hydration, but you can get it through foods. You can get it through the fruits and vegetables that you're eating. And certainly, if you, like me, during the summer, go through a watermelon phase where you're just like eating a lot of watermelon, you know that hydrates you because you have to make many more visits to the restroom. So I agree, yes, I agree with Harvard. Here's me, a little individual person, agreeing with Harvard. So I don't even know if it's worth trying to go for 8-ounce glasses, and I'm not going to. Not only because I don't think it's necessary because I eat fruits and vegetables, but secondly because I don't think I would hit that goal. I think I would fail it every single day. And that's not nice. That's not motivating. So I'm going to stick with my 24 ounces and we'll see where that goes. I don't have it in my mind that, after I hit the 24 consistently, I'll raise it to this. Not really. I don't really have that in my mind at this point. Just the 24 ounces of water a day. So when I talk to you tomorrow, I will be saying, yay for me. I did my hour on the treadmill. I did my 8 hours of standing throughout the day. And I drank my 24 ounces of water. Those are the 3 biggies that I'm working on now. And that's what I'm going to stick with for now until I'm ready to add something else on. And for me, it doesn't work to add something else on, like, okay, every Monday I'm going to add something else on. I will honestly tell you that was much more, my mentality when I was younger was much more like aggressive about changes that I was going to make, and it didn't. I mean, sometimes it worked, but it didn't always work, and certainly I had far fewer things competing for my time, my energy, any resource I have, and now all those resources are being taxed to the max. So I just don't think that way anymore. I think, okay, what's doable, which is actually good. And maybe it's something with age too. As you get older, you're like, okay, that's exhausting to push yourself so much that it's either good or it's bad. I'm going to set these really big goals and either I hit them or I don't. And if I don't hit them, that's a bad thing. No, never mind. Life's not worth that anymore, for sure. So we're going to stick with the 3. We're going to stick with the 8 hours of standing, the 1 hour at the treadmill desk, and the 24 ounces of water. And we'll see how that goes. And then today, I'm going to just try out meditation to see if I want to commit to that or not. It's not a question of whether it will help or not. I know it will help. We can look at any change that we want to make in our lives. I know it would be great to lose 30 pounds. I know it would be super duper if I was doing a weight workout 3 or 4 times every week for an hour. We know these things. You just have to be realistic about what's going to stick. That's the biggest rule, I think, that I would have for any lifestyle change. Like the whole global rule is do what works. So you have to do what works for you, and it's different than what works for me or what works for somebody else. So we just have to sort of keep our eyes on our own page, as they would say back in school, and figure out what works for you and appreciate that it's a process, not a destination. It's just a process. We're going to try things. Some are going to work, some aren't. That's okay. So we've got my 3. I hope that you are having success in the changes that you're making and that you are coming up with ways that work for you. I hope you're forgiving yourself for the things that don't work, that you try, or that you try and they work for a handful of days and then you mess up on a day. I hope you're becoming able to dust yourself off and get right back up and start again and either continue on that change or decide that it's not for you and drop it. And it's not necessarily, when I say drop it, it's not necessarily that it's not something you want anymore. You might still want it. It might not be the right time. You might not have the time, energy, physical capability, mental focus to put toward this. Everything you do in life takes away from something else you could be doing. So yesterday, it was a work day, but I was actually spending half the day going through recipes because I know that I'm not going to get to changing my diet unless I can have good, healthy recipes that I can meal prep. That's just the step I need to take in order to change my diet. And I know that the things I already know how to do in regard to meal prep are too boring at this point, and I'm not going to do them, and I'm not going to eat them, and I'm not going to stick with it. And so because my weekend was blown from having headaches, I had to spend part of yesterday going through recipes, and probably part of today too, to pick out some things that I can fix. So, everything takes time. Everything takes mental focus. So if you've tried to make a change and it's not sticking right now, it doesn't mean that you can't come back to it at a later date, or it doesn't mean that you can't, change up and, back off of it. Like that's why I'm making my water intake so low. But if I said 24 ounces and I find that I'm only able to stick with 12, that's no problem. Back up your goal to 12 ounces and stick with that. As I say, stick with whatever you can do consistently. And, go forward from there. You can always stair-step your way to success. So I hope that you are able to be in a similar mindset when it comes to making changes in your life. Because we all deserve the opportunity to grow and to change and to improve and transform, not only in a way that works for us, but at a speed that works for us. We've all got different circumstances, so you have to just be gentle with yourself. And if you have any naysayers in your life, fortunately, I have eliminated all the naysayers from my life. Certainly if you get online posting about things, you're going to invite naysayers. So that's a different category. But the ones close in on your life, hopefully you can communicate your way through that relationship to let them know what they say or what they don't say, or how they react to things that you say impacts you, so that you can have a positive force in that person. Because many of us, we say things or we react in certain ways that we don't really think about the impact on the other person, or even if we think about it, we don't anticipate the way they would react or the impact we would have, because we haven't had their life experience. And we all have a history of life experiences that dictates what we get triggered by, and how we react to something, and how we hear something. I mean, there's things that I'll say to my daughter. We have a really close relationship, and thankfully she's, very emotionally intelligent, so we can have conversations about feelings. And so I'll say something and she'll tell me, or I'll see in her reaction that it didn't go over well. And so then we talk through it. And she's capable of having a conversation like that, and I'm capable of also having that conversation and being open to being wrong, or not even wrong, just open to the fact that maybe an intention I had that wasn't negative impacted her in a negative way. So then we just talk about it, clean it up, and move on. Like any healthy relationship. How about that? That's my next goal for my next partner, is to have a type of relationship where we can both do that. So we won't talk about dating today. I'm not dating right now. We won't talk about that. We're just going to talk about making positive changes in our individual life. And I guess for whoever you do currently have in your life, sometimes those positive changes you make are going to have ripple effects that are beautiful and lovely, like I'm having on my son, who is not only using a standing desk when he's at my house, he's also using one at his dad's house now. And like I said, he is as skinny as a rail. I mean, he's almost 19, so he's gotten his immunizations, but he's never really had any major health concerns that has made us test his cholesterol or anything like that. So, as far as we know, he's healthy. But, he's one of those people that could be skinny fat, right? I mean, if he eats too much junk, who knows what's happening in his arteries and his veins, but he's just skinny as a rail. So he has no motivation in terms of losing weight to do this. He's doing it because it's good for you to not sit all day long. And he's only doing an hour a day, and that's what he's committed to, and that's what he's doing. The good thing for him is he has Asperger's, which is a form of autism, and when he locks into something, he's pretty great about sticking with it routine-wise, because one of the traits that he exhibits is very black and white thinking. It's on or it's off, And so when he establishes a routine, he's pretty great with sticking with it without me having to be involved at all. Not that I would be, because by the time my kids reached, I'd say 13 or 14, I feel like they are mature thinking beings who I can communicate to about the pros and the cons of any situation, from my perspective at least, and then let them make choices and then have consequences of those choices, and then I will help them come up with a new plan or deal with the consequences of those choices, or encourage them that that's okay, you're human just like the rest of us, you make mistakes, whatever, but it's all about, being able to, that's what they're going to need to do in real life, right? When they're adults, they live out on their own, they're going to need to be able to make independent choices and deal with consequences, so I'm not, I'm encouraging maybe, but I'm certainly not even mentioning every day, hey, did you do your standing desk today? Not at all, because I don't want any pressure from the outside. Once in a while I say, oh, I noticed that you're doing that. It's really great, Try to keep it low key. My daughter, on the other hand, struggles with committing to regular changes. She probably gets it from me, honestly. I've developed self-discipline, but I can't say it's one. I don't know. I'm in the middle. It's hard, nature versus nurture. It's hard to say what I've developed. In general, I've exhibited a good level of self-discipline in certain areas of my life. However, there are also areas, I would almost say, it's where it impacts others and when it doesn't. So if it impacts others, I'm pretty self-disciplined. I will hit the deadlines I say. I will be where I said, when I said I would be there. I will follow through on things I've committed to for you. Not you, but people, anybody. I won't let people down, right? But when it's commitment to myself, I'm not so self-disciplined, I think. I'm just noting the use of the word self there twice. I'm not disciplined when it comes to myself. I did work out consistently and eat healthy relatively consistently with my add-on always of the junk food, but not so much that it didn't balance out with the exercise I was doing. However, like I mentioned before, I got a high from working out. Based on how I was brought up, it was reinforced if I wasn't overweight, that was a good thing, right? So, that's a motivation that comes from within us to have the love and approval of our parents. Obviously, the media and the culture praises that. And for me, the chemical high from working out, quite frequently, I would think, I don't do this for physical at all, I do it for mental. So I think that is a pretty big determiner in me going, exercising on a regular basis in the past. And so that's not self-discipline, really. Self-discipline, I think, is when it's hard for me to think of a good definition while walking, but it's, it's when you when you're not getting something out of something. So, or something tangible at least. You're not getting something immediate or tangible out of something that you're doing, that you're making a sacrifice for, or that you don't feel like doing. And so you're having to apply self-discipline. When you're getting something immediate out of it, like a chemical high from working out, then it's sort of like drugs, really. It doesn't take self-discipline to do drugs that are going to make you feel good. So I guess it's sort of maybe like food too, right? If you eat sugary stuff and you get that, chemical hit from having ingested sugar, the self-discipline is when you try to remove that. So, I don't know, talking in circles. The whole point is that when we make changes, we need to look for the thing that's going to give us a positive reinforcement as quickly as possible, but not everything has that. And so that's when you have to use self-discipline. And for me, I guess that's why I used a schedule, or in my case, I'm not doing a schedule by time, I'm just using a structure. Get up, get your iced coffee, get on the treadmill, because it eliminates the need for self-discipline. Hey, there's an insight. So yeah, by having a structure, it eliminates the need for self-discipline because I'm just doing a pattern. It's almost like, if you've ever driven somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Because you're driving on a path that you do all the time, and so you sort of go into, muscle memory to do it, or autopilot. And so it's sort of what you're establishing when you do something like I'm doing, and like you're doing for whatever changes you're making. If you just establish it as a structure for your day, you just almost do it with, like I mentioned yesterday, without making a choice. Like if you just repeat it every day, I get up, I get my iced coffee, I get on the treadmill. I get up, I get my iced coffee, I get on the treadmill. It doesn't, for me, because it's a structure, not a schedule, it doesn't matter what time it is that I'm getting up. I get up, I get my iced coffee, I get on the treadmill. Self-discipline is only required like yesterday when I didn't do that. When I got up, I didn't feel good. I felt stuffy in the head. I felt a little, I don't want to say dizzy because I wasn't going to injure myself on the treadmill, but just floaty and fluidy in the head and just not great. So, and by the way, that did all go away without taking any medication. So I really think it's something I'm allergic to. I'm going to change my air filter in my home today. I really think it came from outside, whatever it was, but I'm just going to do what I can do around the house it can't be the house really because it didn't happen today, right? So, it's not a scientific experiment, but in any case, it is time to change the air filter, so I will be doing that, but I don't think that's the cause. Anyway, self-discipline was required yesterday. Thankfully, I was able to dig deep and find it, and I did it. But today, when I woke up, I sure as heck wasn't going to repeat that because I don't have extra self-discipline sitting around on a shelf or in my closet or in a drawer to pull out and say, okay, I'll apply it to this today. I just don't have extra self-discipline. So I don't want to have to pull it out. Just want to stick to my structure and add little things in and just do them without thinking, without making a new decision, to change it every day. If I need to change it by making a decision to do tweaks or to drop things because I'm not ready to commit to them. Any little changes I need to make, that's fine, but they're going to be decisions, not little choice points throughout the day where I'm like, do I feel like it or not? Do I feel like it or not? I think that's the central question that knocks us off of our patterns for positive change is relying on that question. Do I feel like it? You got to remove that question from the process entirely so that it's just, this is what I've committed to, I'm going to do it. This is what I'm committed to, I'm going to do it. This is what I've committed to, I'm going to do it. And just repeat that process over and over. And then if you have a blip like yesterday that I had, just, again, get up, dust yourself off, get right back onto your pattern. That's all you can do. So today we got the treadmill, we got the standing, we got the new one of 24 ounces of water. When I talk to you tomorrow, I will be telling you of my success with the water, and I hope that you will have a success tomorrow too, whether it's a new change you're making or change you're considering, you're continuing from today. I hope that at the end of today, you look back, you're super proud of yourself, you pat yourself on the back, and tomorrow you start again and you have another good day. And that is when I'm going to talk to you tomorrow. So I'll see you then. Bye-bye.